Today, I'm really pleased to welcome Judith Morris. Judith, does everyone call you Judith?
No, most people call me Judy.
Oh, great. That's so much more personable, I think. So the Gene Collective is really pleased to have you with us today, and also Women Who Lead. And so I'd like to start by just asking you about you. And you're known as a leader. You've been involved in this community for a number of years and retired a couple of years ago from Lambton College. But we'd like to know more about you before those days. So take it away, Judy.
Thank you. Excuse me. It's a funny thing about women in leadership. And I often wondered as the president of the college how I got there. Because it seemed a bit of a mystery. It was not an intentional move, but I did look back and, in my past, I can remember as a little girl, even in the playground, always wanting to take charge, which I don't know if it's very good or not, but I was always grouping people together and let's play this and let's play that. And my friend in university, who was very, I would say she was outspoken, and she was the one who you always thought was making everybody, go to a party or do this or whatever, said to me in our, a couple of years after we graduated, she said, I was not the queen bee. You, meaning me, you were the queen bee. You were just very subtle about it. and I think, those kinds of things in your past, make you realize that there are lots of traits, and we can talk, I'm sure we're going to talk later about what those traits might be, but they tend to be leadership traits because you can't tell people what to do. You have to make people want to do what you're hoping they will do. And so I guess when I was, younger, I had lots of leadership opportunities. I had a mother who was strong, and she was a high school teacher. She was the head of her department. She went back to school, when she was 40 years old, and in those days that was really something to get a BA in those days. And she was very smart. She graduated, she skipped 3 grades, I think. And I didn't get any of her brains, no, but she was really a great leader. And my dad was an entrepreneur, and at 55, he started his own business, which was something else, a big, risk. So I had very good leadership roles and role models. So one being an entrepreneur, which is an interesting combination with this other leader who was very focused on education, and that's probably why I focused on education. And so as I went through many iterations of who I wanted to be, and I was a high school teacher, and I taught at an incredible high school in Peel region in just north of Toronto, at a vocational school, and very high risk kids who had lots and lots of troubles, but it was the best experience. Just working with a group of people who knew and understood that things could go wrong, but it didn't matter because risks were taken, and the goal was to help these kids be successful, and we all worked together as a team. And that team atmosphere made me really realize that education has such opportunity for people. It changes lives, and to have that, the thought of social good is paramount for me. And so as I progressed and I married my husband, and he convinced me to go to Sault Ste. Marie, heavens, and I got a job at the high school as a supply teacher. I was a part-time teacher at the college, and I taught for vocational rehabilitation as well as a tutor. And so I had 3 jobs going because I so wanted to work and be part of the community, and eventually became a teacher, a faculty member at the college, and then the coordinator, and then a dean, and kind of on it went. But I have to say that I never aspired to be a president. I never aspired to be a vice president or a dean, for that matter. It was people telling me that I had skills and that I think hard work, and that's what happens with a lot of women. They work really, really hard. And it wasn't an intentional working hard. It was because I loved the job. I mean, by intentional, I mean, it wasn't intended to be result in leadership necessarily, but I think I had those something in me that wanted to lead the game. Maybe I was just too controlling. I'm not sure. And so I won a competition to be vice president academic at Lambton College. And then, the one thing I think was really meaningful for me when I left Sault College in Sault Ste. Marie, the president at the time, a lovely man, wrote me a letter. And it wasn't a recommendation letter. It was just a letter to me personally talking about working together. And the one line that really stayed with me, and I have the letter today, and I often read it over because I thought it was so kind of him. He said, Judy, you can be anything you want, and you can go anywhere you want. Never forget that. And so, and his, when a leader says that to you, and he's a person that you respect, I think it has meaning. And so I became the president ultimately of Lambton College, and it was the best job ever. Just amazing opportunity to do good work and to move things further than they'd ever been, I think, at the college, with a team of people who wanted to do the same.
So Judy, that's a perfect lead in to this question, because you really made such a difference at Lambton College. And I know that part of that is because of the team that you worked with.
Yes.
So how would you suggest we motivate and empower women to take on leadership roles and make a positive impact in their community or in their work?
Yeah. I absolutely think that it is the obligation of women who are in leadership roles to mentor others, to be role models, but B, to mentor others. And I have had the privilege of mentoring many women, young women. I had mentored one at Michigan State University, and she was the most incredible, easy woman to mentor because she was so talented. She was going for the stars, but it was an exciting opportunity to help her see where her skills were and how to sort of raise the bar on the skills and make them known. So I think that's a key role. I think it's really critically important for women to do that. And I also think it's important when women leaders are in positions of influence that they see women and give them opportunities. I don't think anybody should, you shouldn't take women over men who have, better skills or whatever. But, our world as a woman has not always been easy, and has many women have been passed over for opportunities. And I think it's important that we see them for who they are. I think for women, it's important that they seek out women leaders, put their hand up, and say, and not be, I've had young women come to me and say, do you mind, could I talk to you? And they're all, they're terribly nervous. And, some of that was my position, and they know, I love it. Come in. This is a pleasure for many leaders, because you get to talk about the things that you love and are important to you as well. So I think putting your hand up, being counted, saying, I want to be. I think leaders taking the opportunity to make sure that they are giving women opportunities, that they're seeing them for, even if there's a sort of slip and a fall, that they don't see that as the end, but as the beginning of the next phase, as a learning opportunity, as opposed to something that shouldn't give them any opportunity to move forward. I think, I think this is going to sound weird, but I have always thought, and it's not just women, but in a team, you have to have fun. You have to have fun in order to grow. And you have to have fun so that you can relax enough, so that you can be who you are, and so that you can then, it opens your mind to other things, and it allows you to brainstorm. It allows you to make decisions that are not clouded by, nervousness or being frightened or whatever. So having fun and creating an atmosphere where people can, in fact, excel, I think is critically important. And valuing team, always valuing team members, whether they be male or female. But I think one thing for women that has been an issue, and I would counsel women, making decisions sometimes women will make decisions because it's the nice decision. So it's not the right decision, it's the nice decision. And that nice does not make right. And I can't tell you how many women I've suggested, you know what, you're too nice. You have to be kind and generous and respectful, but being nice, making a decision because everybody's going to like you for that decision, not the right decision.
And that's a hard lesson to learn. I remember when I was on council, 1991 to 2000, that was one of the hardest things for me, to walk that fine line between being nice to everyone because you're a politician and making the right decisions and not coming on too strong, if you know what I mean. Like it was tough. But you really did a great job. So Judy, how do you think we can how can we motivate more women and encourage them to be more self-confident? That's the thing I'm working on, and what I hope to promote and encourage.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice?
Yeah, it's tough for a lot of women because there is still there is a pull, and an understandable one, to be a mother and a wife sometimes, or a partner, or I don't, whether it's a male, female, I don't care, it doesn't matter. But there are often pulls to be in a situation where, you take care of the children. And that's hard for women to navigate. And so, and I think that often causes them not to put their hand up. Right. And so I think it's important that women understand they can have both. And I think we have to support them in having both. So as a woman, Lee, I'm not sure exactly asking you telling you the right, from the right side of this, but women who are torn because of their children should be given enough time to work with their kids and be with their kids and take time off and have the support of opportunities to go to appointments and go to, various things when the kids are sick and all of the rest of it, because otherwise their head's not in the game. And it's the right thing to do for the children. I mean, for the good of the planet, for the social, all of that. I mean, I'm not denying that, but we're talking about leadership and moving forward. And I think that would allow women, many of them, to think about taking an opportunity because they can see that both parts of their lives will be taken care of. I think again, you encourage women by role modeling, you encourage women by reaching out to help other women, you encourage women and have them see the job as fun, see women as being accepted. There are so many things that I think we can do, and I think you're doing it. I think what you're doing is exactly right. You're providing role models for women who are potentially going to move into politics. And, you know, that's not certainly not an easy place to be. But it's the social good that could come out of that. That's a critical piece for women to understand. And that has to be, you know, that has to be right up here in their thinking. And then they have to think they can actually do it. They've got the skills to do it. And they have to think that their home life is also going to be well taken care of and supported. And I think there also has to be a little reality therapy, because as much as I say you can do it all, you can do it all, but there will be times when parts of it will slip. And yeah.
So Judy, speaking of that, over your career, how have you dealt with burnout? And how did you continue to do the work that you did without jeopardizing your mental and physical well-being? The reason that's so important is because as women, we want to do it all. Yeah. And I know myself, when I worked for a local nonprofit, it was not unknown for me to work 60-hour weeks. Yeah. I learned through that experience and burning out that was not the way to handle life. Yeah. So how did you handle it? What did you do to ensure that you remained on an even keel, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm not sure my husband would have said I was on an even keel all the time. However, one of the things that I think is important as a leader is that when you're at work, you're not bringing your suitcases full of baggage in with you, just by the way. And so I think you have to leave your suitcases at the door. You have to be your very best self at work, because your home life has to be sort of out of that world unless you're there. You need to go and do that, but you can't. Excellent. You can't be angry. You can't, you know, all of that stuff. I've seen people, not just women, but bring everything in, dump it on the table and say, here it is. How do you like me so far? Not much, frankly. And so, yeah, so that's a little piece of it. But and I've always known that. And so I would say, if anything is is a moment of pride for me, it would be that I'm pretty even keel. And at work, I don't think people would have said that I was ever, you know, brought any anger, whatever I was feeling that day. I think, well, I know that physical fitness plays a huge, huge role for me. I work out every day. I did when I worked. I made time for it. I didn't let anything. And that's important, because you can't let other things, because it's easy. It's easy to say, I can't work out today because I've got a meeting. I've got to go here. I've got to travel to Toronto. I have to do this. No, you have to do it. And when you do it, your mental health, you know, escalates, because the physical and they're all, you know, it's all combined. It's all one. And so I think that's a critical piece. So doesn't have to be physical fitness, although that's a critical piece for long-term health, but hobbies, you know, making time for your friends. You have to carve out time for you. And so working through your schedule and saying, okay, here I'm working, you know, I work out from 4 to 5, I'm working out at 6 to 7, I'm doing whatever. I'm meeting with my friends on the weekend. We're having our party. And we're doing this, you know, that's critically important. I had, you know, it depends on who you are, but I'm a worker. So and I'm a driver. Unfortunately, my team would have said, yes, she's a driver. She's driving me crazy. But so I have to have the energy and I'm lucky that way. But, you know, I also have had the privilege of having a husband who supported me and who didn't complain when I wasn't there, who understood. And that's a critical piece when you have a partner who does that. Otherwise, you need to get some counseling and work through it. I think you need somebody there. If you're going to be a leader at the top level, then you have, and even middle management. Oh my gosh, leadership at middle management. Oh, whoa, that's a tough road. So, even there, anywhere there, you need to have somebody who's going to support you and let you work through things in a very positive way. So, not easier said than done, but true.
So we hope that women from a variety, from a variety of walks of life will be listening, and that there's something to take away from each of the interviews that we do.
Right.
I was telling you earlier about Jean McDougall, who was my inspiration when I was on city council. Can you point to one woman in your life who really inspired and motivated you, and why was that?
It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing in as much as the woman that I'm going to speak about who first came I would have said my mother, but that's easy to say because she's my mother and she was extraordinary. But in actual the business side of it and the workplace, my dean, when I was a faculty member and then a coordinator, she gave me, her name was Nadine, the dean, and she recognized that I was a worker, that I wanted to do stuff. And so she just fed me. So every opportunity that came up, she said, okay, now you're going to coordinate. Now you're going to develop this program. Now you're going to do this incredible program called the Community Integration for Cooperative Education Program, which was a program for developmentally handicapped, challenged individuals who had never, ever been integrated into a college system. And so he gave me the program to develop, and it was unreal because I had to work at every level, and I won't go into it, but it was an amazing opportunity. And she saw that, and she would just sit back behind. And if I needed something, she was there. And she would say, okay, now you need to do this and go, what do you think of this? What about this? And then she would just pile it on. And not everybody liked her at the college. And that was my hesitance. Not everybody in leadership loved her. But that was because she was a driver and she was going to make things happen. She loved her faculty and she supported them. And I'm not sure that everything she did was right. And so I didn't follow all of her models. But she inspired me to move ahead. She gave me, the wind beneath my wings. What a wonderful woman she was for me, and what a role model.
That's a fabulous story. And she was obviously a perfect match for you, because if you felt any fear, you felt the fear and did it anyway. And she had your back.
Yes, so she had my back. That's a critical piece, just having the person's back.
That is true.
Yeah.
So I have one final question, and maybe more. We'll see where this goes. But what is the legacy that you hope you leave? Stephen Covey, for example, if you've read any of the 7 Habits, it was a favorite book of mine from long ago. And he talks about begin with the end in mind, which I found so incredibly powerful. And so that's why I want to know from you, what's the legacy that you hope you are leaving and that you will leave?
I think part of my legacy at Lambton College was to take, and I knew it when I became president, I drove to this all the time, as I wanted to make sure that I left that college financially, socially, infrastructurally, that's not the right word, in a better place than where it had been. It was the little college that could, and I wanted it to be the little college that did. And it got to a place where I think it was easy to hand off and the most wonderful president, Rob Cardis, right now is doing an amazing job. But it was my legacy there, I guess, was to make sure that people were in a better situation than they'd ever been. And with that piece of social good always in my head, I wanted, you know, and I think education does this anyway, so I don't think it was part of my legacy, but I wanted students to have the best infrastructure, the best opportunities, with the best faculty, with the best to succeed as much as they could. Because as I said before, education changes lives. You get to see that every day. I mean, what could be better than that? And politics is the same way. You change lives in politics. You can see what, you know, building houses does to when you're home for homeless people. And so that social good linked with, I guess, the long-term goals of the college was a legacy piece for me. The work that I'm doing now as the chair of the Immigration Task Force, you know, for that piece, I hope we, not just me, but as a legacy, we meet our goal of building the population, increasing the population of Sarnia-Lambton. And most importantly, that population is diverse, it's global, it's rich with harmony and diversity. And I think, you know, Sarnia is a beautiful place to be and a stunning place to live. And I'm looking at the lake right now and, you know, all of that, but we were missing a piece. We were missing that piece called diversity. And I think building that, filling up the skills trade shortages, all of those things, and or any of the skills shortages, but the population increase and the diversity are really the key legacy pieces for me in the work that we're doing with the Immigration Task Force. So, you know, and it's not, and I just want to be really clear, none of this work is me. It's a team, and I have had always extraordinary teams, and I mean that with every fiber of my being. I have been so blessed. And so it's easy to be successful when you have really incredible people.
What a wonderful way to end. And hopefully we can create and encourage more leaders like you and like those on your team. Yeah. Is there any final words that you would like to leave us with today?
I think leaving women in particular with some thoughts that if you feel something in your gut, if you feel something, if you feel that you have drive and energy and you want to make a difference in life, don't sit still. Move. Do something. Yes. Take advantage of that. Go for it. Go for it. You are strong people. We're raising kids. We're changing the planet. We're doing all those things. Go for it.
Oh, Judy, thank you so much. That is lovely. And you're so right. Thank you very much for listening today, and stay tuned for more interviews to come.